Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And filling in for Terry Stiles this week, I'm Alexis Ware. In this week's news, business owners lobby Village to allow outdoor sales prohibited by zoning. Final step plan okayed for senior living facility, and customer wins $100 for naming steer.
Stay tuned. Learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. Local businesses have voiced concerns they should be allowed to display merchandise outside their businesses. During public comment at the Village of Oxford meeting, Chuck Snyder, owner of Unique Stuff, and Cola Stoll, co-owner of Burdick Street Equipment, discussed why they should be allowed to display merchandise outside of their buildings. Both are currently prohibited from doing so because the properties are located in the C1 Central Business District, where they, by village ordinance, outdoor sales are not allowed.
Sidewalk and biking safety in Oxford is a priority for Oxford Township. The township has chosen Spadaline D. Decker of Rochester Hills to conduct its safety audit. In a 7-0 vote, Oxford Township officials selected and conduct a walking and biking safety audit of M24. The audit will take place between Indian Lake Road and Harriet Street at a cost of $9,900. Spadaline D. Decker submitted the lowest of 7 bids received. The other 6 bids range from around $19,000 to $30,000.
Authorities are searching for whoever is responsible for the breaking into Devil's Ridge Golf Club, where more than $3,000 in cash and checks were stolen. Employee who closes and opens the Devil's Ridge Clubhouse called Oakland County Sheriff's deputies and reported the incident after showing his manager the scene on the morning of September 14th. It appears the burglary of the clubhouse took place on the evening of September 13th. According to sheriff's reports, when the employee entered the clubhouse on morning of September 14th, he noticed the alarm wasn't beeping as usual. When he went to check it, he discovered the keypad had been ripped from the wall. The incident remains under investigation.
It was a close vote, but a proposed senior living facility to be located in both Oxford and Orion Townships was approved last week. Oxford Township Planning Commission voted 3-2 to grant final site plan approval with a list of 6 conditions. Grace Premier Senior Living will be located at 985 North Lapeer Road. The site previously housed New Beginnings Baptist Church, which is slated for demolish this month.
Horse country is typically a pretty quiet area, but it was probably even more quiet Thursday evening as a number of its residents left their farms, fields, and stables to make their voices heard at the Oxford Township Planning Commission meeting. When residents filled the meeting room to voice their concerns about zoning to officials, at times the meeting almost got out of control. Residents voiced their interest to make changes to existing ordinances with hopes of protecting their rural atmosphere and way of life from uses they view as incompatible and undesirable.
When the 2020 census rolls around, Oxford Township officials went to make sure everyone gets counted. Township officials voted 7-0 last week to form a local complete count committee, which will be part of the U.S. Census Bureau's new community partnership and engagement program. The program's goal, according to the Census Bureau, is to work with local partners to increase participation in the 2020 census from those who are less likely to respond or are often missed.
With natural disasters, economic crises, and a fast-moving, ever-changing society, Thomas United Methodist Church has faced it all. During its lengthy history, the church continues to endure. That's because its members are very tenacious, according to Pastor Carol Middle, who has led the little church at 504 First Street since 2017. That was abundantly clear on Sunday morning as Thomas United Methodist Church celebrated a milestone its 125th anniversary. During the celebration, church members reflected on the past, talked about the present, and looked forward to the future.
Congratulations are in order for Chris Benjamin of Waterford Township. He recently won a $100 shopping spree for naming a large fiberglass steer at Unique Stuff in downtown Oxford. Unique Stuff, owned by Chuck Snyder, sponsored a contest to name the store's long-honored mascot. Benjamin dubbed the massive steer Sir Oxford. Benjamin plans to give the prize to his wife so she can pick out something at Unique Stuff.
Well, Alexis, congratulations on taking over over John Ochen's position for Schooling Around.
It's big shoes to fill, it really is.
Yeah, I've watched a couple of the trailers, and you're doing a real good job, and you folks want to make sure you catch it. It's a very good show. One thing I want to mention, too, is that the election is coming up soon. It's going to be here before you really realize it, and that date, of course, is November 6th. Now, interesting enough, Dave Kenny spreads a lot of rumors, giving you the wrong date, but make sure you show up on November 6th. That's going to be the date of the election.
Okay, yes.
Everybody should vote, right?
Yes, you guys really should.
Okay.
All right, and that's it for Oxford News this week. If you would like to learn more about these stories and others, you can catch us on our website at OCCTV.org, on YouTube, and of course, your regular cable channels, Spectrum, Channel 191, or AT&T, Channel 99.
Coming up soon, OCTV's very own Cody Wright with school sports and Schooling Around, incorporating great topics with Alexis Ware.
That's me.
And you won't want to miss Auto Talk and Science in the News with Dave Kenny.
I'm Alexis Ware. Thanks for watching Oxford News this week.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Remember, always be kind to your friends and neighbors, and thanks for watching.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In our first story, an exoplanet about twice the size of Earth has been found orbiting a star called Pi Mensae about 60 light years away. It's the first world discovered by NASA's Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite, or TESS, a spacecraft that began surveying the galaxy just 2 months ago. This is one of the first objects we looked at, says Chelsea Wang, a TESS scientist at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. We were immediately saying, hey, this is too good to be true. The alien world Pi Mensae C takes 6.27 days to complete an orbit around its parent star, Pi Mensae. That star is so bright it's visible to the naked eye from a dark sky site in the southern hemisphere. It was previously found to have a planet the size, the mass, that is, of 10 Jupiters circling it. TESS works by watching thousands of nearby stars in the Milky Way, looking for signs of planets transiting them, minuscule dips in the star's brightness that can give away the presence of an orbiting planet momentarily passing in front of them. Such a blip in the light from Pi Mensae was identified in the first month of observations beamed home by TESS, says Wang. The team confirmed that the presence of Pi Mensae C by examining separate studies of the light of its parent star made by ground-based observatories. This analysis revealed a tiny telltale wobble in the star's motion that researchers attribute to the gravitational pull of TESS's newly detected world. Based on the planet's radius, it's likely a mini Neptune with a gaseous hydrogen and helium atmosphere, says Hugh Osborne, an exoplanet researcher at the Marseille Astrophysics Laboratory in France. Pretty much all the planets we find at that radius have this gassy layer, he says, so it wouldn't look anything like Earth. Shortly after the first detection, NASA announced that TESS had found a second planet. This new world, called LHS 3844b, orbits a small star 49 light years away. It's smaller than Pi Mensae C, only 1.3 times the size of Earth, but much hotter at an average temperature of about 532 degrees Celsius. It is so close to its star that it orbits once every 11 minutes. The TESS team says that it may be the easiest planet to observe that is less than twice Earth's size. That means it will be easier to check if it has an atmosphere, although it is so hot that it is likely not. And still in space, spacecraft incoming. Japan's Hayabusa 2 spacecraft was ready to release its first rovers to the asteroid Ryugu. This kicks off a year-long campaign of dropping landers and taking samples before Hayabusa 2 heads back to Earth at the end of 2019. The first 2 of 4 total landers were dispatched together on September 21st when they were dropped from about 60 meters above the asteroid's surface. The landers, collectively known as Minerva 2, are hoppers rather than rovers. A spinning cylinder inside each lander allows it to hop a few meters at a time in Ryugu's weak gravity. Each hopper is 7 centimeters tall and 18 centimeters across, with a mass just over 1 kilogram and covered in solar panels to power its hopping and scientific instruments. They are each fitted with 2 types of camera and a thermometer. The data from the hoppers, as well as 3 sets of samples the spacecraft will collect over the next year, will help us figure out how Ryugu formed and what exactly it is made of. Because asteroids, like Ryugu, are remnants of the larger rocks that built up planets in the early solar system, studying the asteroids may lead to an understanding of Earth's history. If we find water and organics are similar to that on Earth, it will be evidence that space rocks like Ryugu are how we all began, says JAXA's Elizabeth Tasker. Hayabusa 2 hopes to bring back a piece of our history when it returns with samples from Ryugu. And in our last story, wounds are usually fixed with stitches and staples that damage surrounding tissue. This could be avoided with a new bandage that seals wounds without stitches. Kaushal Reddy at Arizona State University and his colleagues made the bandage by combining silk and gold nanorods in a thin material. When a laser is shown on the bandage, the gold converts the light into heat. This leads to structural changes in the silk and the collagen of the tissue it is applied to, causing them to intertwine and bond together. The team found that incisions in pig intestines closed with the bandage withstood higher fluid pressures than those closed with stitches. Progress is made. Well, that's all for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.
Hello everyone and welcome back to School News. I'm Alexis Ware. This week is a tad bit different. I had the opportunity to speak with Ken Weaver, Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction. We talked about the most important things for the upcoming school year. Let's take a look at that interview. I'm here at the district offices with Mr. Weaver, the Superintendent of Curriculum. Mr. Weaver, tell us just a quick overview of the new curriculum for all of the schools.
Well, at the elementary level, there's not a whole lot of new curriculum. We've mostly been working the last couple of years on getting better at what we've implemented to the last 2 or 3 years. We're working on some readers and writers workshop, also working on making sure we are implementing our math expressions curriculum as well as our science kits that we have. So not a whole lot new at the elementary level. We're working on one of the big kickoffs we had this year. At the beginning of the year, we had an IB workshop, a 2-day workshop with all the elementary teachers, and that went over, we think, rather well. It seemed to be a good vibe from the teachers and from those in attendance, where we really worked on inquiry for the most part with classroom teachers, and then with ancillary staff, which is like your school psychologists, social workers, and stuff like that. We worked on some social emotional learning pieces, so as well as ATLs, and then also worked with the PE, music, arts teachers as well for their specific disciplines and so forth. So it really went well. We're really excited about that. So at the elementary, I'd say the biggest pieces we're just trying to hone our craft and really work on improving on the IB program and inquiry in particular. At the middle school and high school level, we are looking at the middle school level, implementing new resources for 6 through 8 science to meet the new next generation science standards, which is basically this new Michigan science standards. So they are working on implementing that currently. We got a new product in called iQuest, and they are working through it's a digital platform, so that's going to be a little bit new, and so we bought some Google Chromebooks for those science teachers so that they would be able to implement that curriculum. A lot of our curriculum over the next couple of years is going to be more digital in nature.
That's where it's moving.
That's where everything's moving, and matter of fact, you can't buy paper anymore without also the digital platform comes along with it as well too, generally. I've not seen any curriculum that doesn't have a digital platform anymore. And then at the high school level, the biggest change there is at the 9 through 12 ELA curriculum, we are putting in a product called Springboard. It's produced by the College Board, which is also the company that does the SAT. And so we're really hoping that really aligns well with the SAT test, which is now required in Michigan. And even if Michigan goes back to the ACT, it's still an excellent product and will aligns with the Michigan standards for ELA as well anyway. So it'll work. It's an excellent product and we're really excited about that. That platform as well, right? This year we're working, we have the books for it, but next year, they're consumable books, but next year we'll be going mostly, if not all, digital as well too. So that's probably one of the biggest changes that'll probably hit at the end, towards the end of the year. As you may or may not know, we passed the sinking fund, and so part of that we are looking at buying digital products for the students to use, student devices, and we're looking at Google Chromebooks. And so as we keep going through buying these products, we're going to have more and more of them till eventually to a point where the high school will be basically one-to-one with each kid getting a device checked out to them, a Google Chromebook for the year. So we're really excited about that. We also have a health services curriculum, which it's not a new class, but it was revamped. It was the medical foundations class.
And this is something that we've been talking about a lot on School News.
Yeah, the biomed class, I should say, and we changed it, updated it, have it more closely aligned to the CTE standards, and then as well we created, or we merged a couple of classes together to create the digital imaging technologies class, which is a really exciting class, which incorporates many different facets of technology being implemented for communication. So we're really excited about that class as well too. So those are some of the basic changes that we have this year, and then we are working on some other curriculum this year that will be eventually by the end of the year be either taking to the board or looking at resources for by the end of the year. So we're really excited about the way things are going in the direction. We had a great start to the year. Yeah. Everything went really successfully, and so we're looking forward to things. Probably one of the last things, or last changes I should introduce is the fact that we have an executive director of elementary instruction, Miss Anita Kanja. We were very fortunate to hire her from Walled Lake, and we are looking forward to having her services this year.
Thanks for watching that interview with Ken Weaver. That's all we have for School News this week. Remember to stay tuned for Cody Wright with School Sports.
What's going on, Wildcat fans? Cody Wright back here once again for this week's Sports Report. This week we have a few interviews we would like to throw your way. J.R. Laffner, you might know him from soccer, or you might know him from the football games as an announcer. Either way, he has received an award. So our very own Rod Wright had to do an interview to see what this is all about. So here it is.
Okay, I am here with J.R. Laffner. Big announcement this week. Coach of the Year.
Yeah, I'm very honored and I'm very proud of our program. Just to be thought of in that light as a Coach of the Year for the state of Michigan is just mind-blowing. And, you know, it's just we got a great staff and some great support, so I'm very honored.
Well, let me reiterate. This is Coach of the Year, not just for bowling. This is Coach of the Year overall. JR, that's amazing.
Like I said, I'm still flabbergasted by it, and I'm really looking forward to the banquet so that I can tell everybody how much I appreciate my coaches and the staff, Collier Lanes, the school, everybody. And yeah, everybody's takes a big part of that, and it couldn't happen if not everybody's pulling on the chain the same way.
Wow, and I work with you. Can I have your autograph?
Yeah, well, you got to go with my agent.
That is absolutely amazing. We are so proud of this man. I tell you, you took this program from the very beginning, built this up for years and years, and I'm sure that's why they're calling you Coach of the Year.
Well, you know what? We've had some success. We're happy about that and proud of it. You know, and you know, our boys are 5 years in a row OAA champions. Our girls state runner-up last year and state champs this year. Yeah. And so we couldn't be prouder of the success that we're having. And just as important as that, last year we won the Sportsmanship of the Year award for the OAA, and we're trying to make sure that the kids understand that it's great competition, but you know, you got to be good sports about it. And so we're proud that they recognize us for that. And again, it's not me, it's our program. And again, it's just humbling for them to so many great coaches out there, and to be thought of in that light is amazing.
Well, you make our community very proud, too. Thank you very much, JR.
It's a great community indeed.
Isn't it, though? I'll tell you, he's the best cheerleader for this community, so it's our turn to cheerlead for you. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you very much, sir.
Congratulations.
Well, that's all the time we have for this week. Wanted to get these interviews out to you and shift away from just reporting on weekly scores. However, we will cover last week and this week's scores when we come back next week. But if you can't wait till then, go to oxfordathletics.org. You'll find scores, upcoming games, and more all right there at oxfordathletics.org. While you're at it, might as well check us out at OCCTV.org. All of our coverage of the games is posted on our YouTube page, which you can access through the website. Once again, that is OCCTV.org. And that's all for this week's report. I want to thank you guys again for watching, and we'll see you next time. I'm Cody Wright. Go Wildcats.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, German auto supplier ZF Friedrichshafen AG said it's developing its own self-driving vehicle technology in the latest sign of how technology shifts are upending the traditional roles in the auto industry. ZF plans to invest $14 billion over the next 5 years on electric and autonomous vehicle technology. The spending of about $2.8 billion annually outpaces the $2.6 billion ZF spent in overall research and development last year. The project includes developing a battery-powered delivery van that can drive on its own, the company said last week. Our concept vehicle will be ready for series production during the next 2 years, CEO Wolf-Henning Schneider said. We're in concrete discussions with several customers. ZF ranks among the world's biggest car parts manufacturers after the $12.9 billion takeover of TRW Automotive Holdings Corporation 3 years ago. The privately held company plans to test the vehicle in its hometown of Friedrichshafen in a move that will see it go head-to-head with Volkswagen's Crafter and Ford's Transit van. The car industry's shift to electric and self-driving vehicles is opening the field to new competitors. Aside from Tesla, Chinese startups such as NIO Incorporated are proliferating, and GM's Postal Service already makes its own bare-bones electric delivery vans. Autonomous vehicles are likely to first take off in commercial applications due to the challenge of finding drivers and the hopes for efficiency gains amid booming online shopping. ZF's van will be highly automated and able to navigate city centers on its own, recognizing traffic lights, maintaining its lane, even on streets without markings, and moving around double-parked cars, the company said at the Commercial Vehicle Fair in Hanover, Germany. The vehicle will also feature a Follow Me function, allowing a parcel delivery carrier to deliver packages on foot. It will also be able to be sent ahead to the next stop in case there's no parking in the immediate area. That's something. And at Cadillac, Cadillac has put diesel engine development on the back burner, citing the industry's rapid shift to electric vehicles. Cadillac President Steve Carlisle, speaking at the XT4 compact crossover launch, said the brand is reevaluating diesel technology. Cadillac had been working on 4- and 6-cylinder diesel engines for several years as part of its push into Europe, and had planned to offer diesel-powered models in the U.S. as well. The XT4 was to have been offered with a diesel by 2020 or before, and Cadillac had expected to launch diesel engines in more models. This may still happen, but for now, Carlisle confirmed the program is on hold. In 2015, the Volkswagen diesel scandal caught Cadillac flat-footed, but executives felt it had progressed too far to kill the program. It hit another snag last year when General Motors sold Opel a development partner for the engines. But despite delays, the program continued. Now the strategy is under intense scrutiny. Still, Carlisle maintained that diesel engines will play a role in the auto business, especially in trucks, for a long time. On the recall front, General Motors said it will recall over 210,000 vehicles in the U.S. and over 19,000 vehicles in Canada because of an issue with the brake system that could increase the risk of a crash. Gas from a defective piston can be released into the vehicle's brake system and create a soft or spongy feel when the driver presses the brake, affecting rear brake performance, according to a safety defect report filed by GM. The manufacturer of the brake pistons failed to properly chrome and temper the brake pistons during the manufacturing process, the report says, and in this condition, hydrogen gas can remain trapped in the piston body. The affected vehicles are the Buick LaCrosse, Cadillac XTS, GMC Terrain, and Chevrolet Bolt EV, Cruze, Equinox, Impala, Malibu, and Volt from the 2018 to 2019 model years. According to the report, ZF Group was investigating similar reports on its brake calipers from other automakers such as Audi, Volkswagen, and BMW, but did not qualify or did not notify GM until June 14th. In Canada, GM's recall notice uses some of the same language as one issued for Fiat Chrysler automobile vehicles in mid-August. That recall also affected vehicles from the 2018 and 2019 model years in Canada, but it was unclear whether the recall was for the same issue. In ZF's July safety defect report, the supplier did not list GM as a purchaser of affected brake calipers, the automaker's report says. To rectify the issue, GM dealers will bleed the rear brakes as necessary to remove any gas. GM said it's not aware of any crashes caused by the issue. Well, that's it for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and as always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highways.